Hello, welcome to Off Grid Thoughts channel. This is part 10 of the flexible solar panel times 6 frame board build. And my current progress is I've made slats for the bottom. Uh, I've used caulking on both sides. On the other side, I haven't put caulking in this section on the other side, not yet. So that I have to be a little more careful about so I don't get caulking on the solar cells on the other side. Um, Pretty much on the back cover, there's going to be two cover halves, which I've already made those. And I'm going to drill the MC4 cables are going to come out of the back right in this area. And so I'll drill a couple of holes in the back cover and I'll run the MC4 cables through this. This is like a lamp part. It's got a couple of nuts and washers. Um, then I'll put some silicone around the end of the wire and the end of this, just to keep any moisture, water out. Um, so this is almost done. It's almost complete. Um, the I'm going to have a pivot point in the middle because these are going to be ground mounted, and I'm going to have 6-inch blocks of 2x4 screwed into the side with 3-inch screws. I might take about 3/16 of an inch off of the end of the 3-inch screws because I don't want it to poke through the other side if I run it down a little bit further. Um, So I have a 6-inch block, maybe about right here. This is the middle. This is going to be kind of an empty area. And then I'll have another 6-inch block screwed to this. And then I'll have a 2x4 running on top of this block. It'll come over here and be on top of this block. And so then I'll have a gap of about 1.5 inches right here between the 2x4. And I'll drill a hole in the middle of that 2x4. And then I'm going to put 1/2 inch bolts. Well, in my case, I cut some threaded rod, so 1/2 inch threaded rod with a nut on each end. So the ground mount is going to be either a 2x4 or 2x6 connected to a concrete block on the ground, and I'll either use lumber to connect it to the block, or buy I'll buy a bag of ready mixed concrete and just concrete the board to the block, and then I'll drill a hole in the 2x4, the 2x6, and it'll be connected to this board. So again, it'll be a 1/2 inch threaded rod, and then I can pivot this and tighten it down, and that'll work out really nice. I can get my 30-degree angle, um, and the concrete block, that'll give it enough stability because it's going to be like a rectangular block, and with the long ways kind of going from front to back. And the concrete block is be about as wide as here, be about that width, and then so the side to side and then the front forward, the wind I don't think would affect it. um, especially if I put some concrete mix, if I pour it into the block, uh, to keep the if I concrete it inside of that block, then it's a hollow block. So to keep that 2x4, 2x6 stable, that'll add more weight to the block. So then this whole thing would be stable. Um, so that's kind of my plan for this, and I'll be making about at least four more of this same thing, and I'm going to be making even more after that. They'll just be a little bit different sizes than this board because I'll be using different solar panels that I have, which I own all flexible solar panels. I don't own any glass panels. So I've kind of started my era of making these frames. Um, and this is like marker chalkboard, like for a marker. On one side it's white, the other on this side it's black. But this is going to be painted with exterior house paint, exterior building paint. So if you're not going to paint if you make one of these, if you're not going to paint your frame board, I don't really recommend using this. Maybe something like 1/8 plywood would be better. I did this to reduce the cost because this will be adequate when combined with exterior paint. But if you don't paint it, this would not last. Um, so I'd recommend 1/8 plywood if you're not going to paint it. Um, so pretty much, in one of my other videos, I had a piece of tape here, and after I put up the video, I said, "Huh, that might be a little confusing because I had tape here to hold this down, but this is not connected. This is just a branch of positive and negative, and I have the wires, each negative and each, like, I have a whole row of positive, the wires inserted at 6 different points because there's 6 panels here, and then I've got 6 negatives inserted all the way down. So this is the same color because this is the only 10 gauge wire I have at the moment. So I'm gonna have to get some more 10 gauge wire. I have some 12 gauge wire. I could have probably used that, but I decided, I just wanted the same gauge as the MC4 cable here. So really all I have to do is kind of finish painting this stuff up when it dries, on both sides, and then drill a couple of holes in the back cover, install this, or just as a lamp part. Uh, then I'll put a little bit of clear silicone on the ends to keep any moisture out. But yeah, this is almost done. The pivot points, the pivot point will be somewhere in the middle here. Um, so I'll have another part to this, but the MC4 cable is gonna. There'll be a wire kind of on one side, kind of going in, and they'll be kind of close to each other, maybe about 4 inches apart from each other, 3 to 4 inches. It'll be pretty close, but a little bit of a space. Um, I hope this was interesting. Take care out there. God bless.